Welcome back, everybody, to Side Hustle Central. My name is Jonah Hughes, and I'm going to share some tips with you today. I got a quick one for you. Basically, today, all we're going over is going to be the importance of doing podcasts in 2024. Coincidentally, I am doing a podcast and it is 2024. So we're going to go over the importance of doing that, kind of the tips and tricks that you can start on your own that will allow you to make a podcast and to just get started, and how that's going to affect whatever you're doing. And I'll give some examples of it, but let's get right into it. So podcasting in 2024, it's been around forever. Podcasting is basically the same as when they used to do radio shows back in like 50s and 60s. And whenever radio first came out, it's essentially the same setup. You have a couple people or even one person that gets on a microphone and speaks to an audience. Basically, it's either talking into a camera, talking just straight into a microphone, and you're just getting into a subject that you're going to start talking about and maybe give some value or some entertainment. I know a lot of people have sports podcasts. A lot of people have business podcasts, finance podcasts. Some people like to do murder mystery podcasts. And there's just a whole plethora of podcast types that you can do. So essentially, podcasting would be important for anybody going into any business or any hobby that you're trying to do. In the past, I've had Jen Wooten on, and she flips furniture. Well, it's important to go on a podcast. Number one, it gives you transparency. So you're transparent to people. People start to know you more. They learn about you, which means they'll start to feel a little more connected to you. You share some details about your life. They get more interested in your life. They start to become interested in you as a person, not just what you do, which is very important. A lot of people will stay with a business or a company because of the people they deal with. And so podcasting kind of gives you that extra level of transparency that you can show, hey, this is who I am. This is what I do. You can trust me, even though maybe I don't have the best price. It's the value that I put behind it. It's my heart behind it. It's more important than just the shallow level of, hey, this is my business and this is what I do. They learn who you are. Number two, why podcasts are going to be very important in 2024 is it is going to give you a wider audience. There's some people who will not watch video, but they will listen to audio. I, for one, am huge into listening to audio. I barely have time to watch video. The only time I do is when I'm walking on a treadmill or when I'm kind of hanging out. But even then, I'm typically doing something else, and I have a video playing in the background. So I only listen to audio anyway. But when I'm driving, I will put a podcast on and I will listen to audio for hours. I love listening to podcasts. I love listening to preaching. I love listening to people who talk about business. Ryan Pineda is a big one that I listen to. I can have that on for hours at a time. When I used to work at Shields, I would shop. There would be 8 hours where I was just listening to podcasts, and it was over and over and over. And I would learn something here and there, and I would get entertained from it. But it's a great way to gain a wider audience of people who may not watch your videos or may not watch your like YouTube shorts or Instagram reels, that type of content. They might listen to a podcast of you. They might see you in some place and they'll think, man, I wish he had more information. I wish there was somewhere else I could go that would give me more information about them. I wish I could learn more about them or basically feel like I'm meeting them in person. A podcast is a great way to do that because you're basically just talking to somebody and explaining your life or explaining more about a subject. And it's a longer form of content that they're going to be able to learn about you more. And the final one, number three, is you can repurpose content. I do this all the time, especially with the podcast for the church. Any podcast that I do for the church, I put it into an AI program and I get 5 to 10 clips from it that the AI will actually learn about it and see who's talking and then put captions on it automatically. I just add an outro to it that I made myself on Canva, which is free. and I made that quick, and then I put that at the end of the little clip that it gave me, and super easy, spurts out a little clip, and I can repurpose it, I can reuse it, and then I can also use it for those reels. So you're getting the long form content and you're getting short form content that's under a minute long, and that will keep people's attention. So you kind of have a win-win in both situations. You get to have the long YouTube and Spotify and Apple Podcasts, whatever. You get that long form content, and then it's like, boom, I'm going to give it to a program. It's going to clip it up, and then I get 5 more videos that I didn't really have to do much extra for. I can just keep repurposing that content. And sometimes I learned this from Ryan Pineda, is if you have like an hour-long podcast where you're just talking, you can find maybe like 10 minutes, like 5 to 10 minutes of a good section that you're talking about, and you clip that out of it, and then you put that in its own YouTube video or its own podcast. And so now you have even more content. Hey, here's a great 5 minutes that explains 3 ways to invest. The rest of the podcast, we talked about money and we talked about investing and real estate and whatever. But in this 5 minutes, we talked about 3 ways that you can up your investing and get income. And then you're going to cut that out of there and you're going to repost it. And so you're using it again. So you basically have, let's just say, an hour-long podcast. Then you have 1 to 2 short videos, kind of mid-sized videos that are 5 to 10 minutes long. And then you have 5 to 10 60-second or less videos that you can repurpose. So it's like 3 tiers of content that you can get just from a podcast. As I'm sitting right here now, this podcast is probably going to be 10 to 15 minutes long. And then I won't get that like 5-minute video out of it, that 5-minute clip, but I will get like 5 clips of me explaining in short form certain things that will help you guys and certain things that can be important for podcasting. And so I can keep repurposing that content. It's a great way if you need like to roll in content. I have that problem too, where I'm like, I can only go to Goodwill so many times. I can only go to Wholesale Logistics so many times, and I can only film the same thing over and over and over and over again. Some other people, like Jen, who flipped furniture, it's great for her. She's like, I can show this part of flipping furniture. I can do this piece, and every couple days I have a new piece. So it's like you can keep doing more videos. For me, I'm like, well, I bought some things, and then I bought some more things, and now I'm going to be moving a little bit over into more importance of social media and more importance of podcasting and certain other aspects of my life. I still sell on eBay. I still do reselling, but that's kind of slowed down. And so it kind of just is a balance, it's still like side hustles, but we're just finding a balance in there. And so right now podcasting is the big thing. I'm going to teach a little bit on that. So you might be wondering, how can I start a podcast? If you were to look around this room right now, we got 3 expensive microphones. We got boom stands, this guy right here. We got 3 $1,500 cameras, a bunch of lighting, we got the backgrounds from another podcast that's done here. And we got chairs and a studio, and we have a $2,500 mixer, and then the computer and the cables. That's a lot of equipment. It's a lot of money. And personally, I don't have that amount of money. I'm blessed to be able to reuse this studio and to be able to redo, essentially use the setup that's here. Most of the time when there's a setup here, I can just reuse it. So that's super nice. But for people who don't have that, the first podcast I did was done with a $20 tripod, my cell phone, and a light, a ring light that came with the tripod. Again, $25, I think. I sat at a fold-out table that I had, and then I had a microphone that coincidentally from eBay reselling. It was one of the products that I found, it cost me $8, but it was like a $25 mic. The audio turned out fine. Buzzsprout, which I use to publish the podcast, you can publish it for free to begin with. It'll stay on there for 90 days. So you can publish that for free. YouTube is free. The only thing that would probably cost you is I use CapCut to edit videos, and the desktop version, if you want the Pro, which is like you can't do more than a 5-minute video, I think. Without the Pro version, it's $9 a month, super cheap. To do the thumbnail and the designs and the editing and whatnot, Canva is free. So there's a ton of equipment that basically you could start a podcast if you have the most important thing is if you have some way to get a microphone, which again, you can buy off Amazon for $15 or $20. And then if you have a good camera and a tripod, that's really all you need. Some people don't even use a microphone. They'll just use a camera and a tripod. You don't necessarily need it. You can do whatever you want. It can be super cheap. You can, as long as you have a camera, all the other stuff you can do for less than, I'm going to say $50, but probably less than $100 is a better example that you can do the editing, the filming, the audio, convert it to audio and upload it. And it'll be less than $100. And that can sustain for at least 90 days before you have to start, maybe spending a little more money, but it's super easy to do. This stuff that we have, like this microphone, is a super nice microphone, but this microphone was only $100. And then the boom stand that we have, that's only, I don't know, I think it's like $25. But it's super cheap. Everything is very affordable. And like I said, this has been going on for years. They used to do this with radio shows, so it's a very natural thing. Now it's just like anybody can do it. That's the only difference. The radio show studios used to be these multi-$100,000 studios where they got all the best equipment and all the best microphones and all the best video and audio and streaming. You don't need that anymore. Podcasting is essentially, you just get a cheap way to get a microphone and a camera, and you can put it all together, post it, and let people know about your content. Very important, very beneficial, really cool. So as far as podcasting goes, that's about all the information I have as of now. I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly doing new things. We just had an evangelist in that I was doing a podcast for, and their studio is completely different. For example, we use just like straight backgrounds. Well, they have like an LED wall, and then you got to change the camera angles. I learned a ton while they were here, and I'm still learning constantly, but hopefully it'll keep progressing and we can build an audience and you can build a personal brand. The main thing is you just got to keep putting content out there. And that's one thing I've struggled with. I think it's been a month since I've really made serious content. So I haven't been on par with what I need to do, but just doing this podcast is going to bump me forward with more content. My niche right now is in social media that I do for the church. And so that's a consistent thing that I'm constantly learning about and trying new strategies and trying different ways to do things. How do we get the podcast to increase? How do we get the social media to increase? What's the importance of the social media? There's all of these different things that I'm learning about. And as I go, I am going to share this information with you. It is, in some senses, you can make this into a side hustle. I looked into it before. I had it was a social media management. It was like a software, but essentially you could manage YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter for multiple channels and schedule and post and create everything in this one software. And it was like $25 a month. Super nice, super efficient. I might have to go back to that because now I run, I think I run 4 channels, possibly 5 channels. And then some of those none of them are on Twitter or X. But I run 5 channels that are on different platforms. And so it can get confusing at times, but people make side hustles out of that. They get a software. They say, I'll make this many posts about this thing, and you can pay me $1,000 a month. And some people do that. That might be a future thing that I experiment with. And kind of one of my thoughts is how can we get somebody to be at a location, build their team up so that it's half and half. They gather the content, we do the posting and the editing. It's kind of that toss up there. And that might be something I experiment with the future. Same with podcasting. It's like, hey, I'm going to send you the equipment. I'm going to tell you exactly how to set it up, or maybe we set it up for you one time and then you do the rest. You send us what you gathered, and then we'll edit it, post it, put it out there, market it for you, and then we'll try to build the following for you. So there are a ton of ways to make money in this industry, especially because I can't remember what the statistic was. It was like a certain number of like the boomer generation. They have these like small $1 million businesses or multi-million dollar businesses, and their kids don't want the businesses, and they want to keep increasing, or they want to get a good price for it. But let's just say it's like a plumbing business, and it's like, hey, they do $1 million a year. We'll just use an easy figure. They do $1 million a year. They're doing good, but they have zero social media. They have zero systems. They don't do a podcast about anything. They don't do social media. They don't post anything. They don't film people's houses. There's such a huge opportunity there, especially somebody who doesn't really understand social media. And you can tell them, hey, I'm going to send you this thing, this camera. You could use a $400 GoPro. All I need you to do is I have it all preset. Click record. You make sure the audio's on. I want you to record this angle. You're going to plug it into your computer, download it, send it to me, and I'll do the rest. It would be a very easy system that could be set up. Again, I don't know how that would go, but there's a huge opportunity there. And podcasting is really just the start of it. There's a huge importance for podcasting in 2024 and a huge importance for social media in 2024. It's every year it becomes more important. Every year there is more opportunity. There's more money in the game, especially when you're into these big companies who are like, hey, I want social media and I want you to do ad purchasing or build an ad, which is essentially the same as social media, like content creation, a little different. You have to do beta testing and A/B testing and start buying ads, and you have the click-through rate and the CPM. But some of these companies are spending billions every year on a marketing budget. So imagine like their social media, which is essentially their marketing, kind of one and the same. When it gets to that level, there's billions of dollars being spent all around the world that you can do from home, from your computer, with very minimal hands-on. You can be a very hands-off operator, have them do part of it for you. You can do the rest, and there's a huge opportunity there. Again, podcasting is the same way. Set up their deal, put this mic here, put this camera here, gather the audio and the video, and then I'll do the rest. So there's just so many opportunities, and 2024 is going to be great. It doesn't matter who's president. The economy could be bad. The economy could be great. Doesn't matter. There's still a huge opportunity if you're looking for it. There's still tons of money out there. The money just doesn't go away. There's still going to be billionaires. There's still going to be millions of millionaires. There's tons of money out there. You just got to go find out how you can get the money into your pocket. I like the famous Grant Cardone saying, "Who's got my money?" That's kind of what I think is somebody's got my money out there. There's millions of dollars that are for me. Who's got it? So with that, I'm signing off. Thanks again for watching Side Hustle Central. Hopefully you gathered some information from this episode. If you have any questions, just DM me or comment on the video. I'll answer them to the best of my ability. Like I said, I am learning along with you guys. I'm just rolling through life and gonna keep learning, and whatever I learn, I'm gonna give to you guys. If you got a side hustle and you are interested in coming on the podcast, I'd love to interview you. I'm totally welcome to really anybody that has a side hustle that they've been successful at coming on the podcast. I want to share the information and let everybody know how they can make money in different areas in life, especially with people who have proven that they've made money in these different areas. I know real estate's a big one, but even with that, it can be a side hustle turned into a full-time career. I want to show people that, and I want to show you guys how you guys can make money. So with that, thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed.